Most Topical. Nate here, and today I'm going to be reacting to negative reviews for Wes Anderson films, all of which I at the very least like very much. But before we get into that, scroll down to the description box below, pop it open, you'll find links to our social media accounts. Go and give us a follow on those. You also find links to our Coffee account and our Patreon account, so if you would like to help our channel grow, you can help us out in that way, and we would appreciate it. First up, we have Isle of Dogs, and John Liu, who gave it a 2.5 out of 5, says what it does not have in great quantity is a story or characters worth remembering. That doesn't make any sense to me. Isle of Dogs, it's not my favorite Wes Anderson film, but it is an animated movie, and it is an animated movie that is created to be enjoyed by all ages. So it's not specifically a kids movie, but it's also not only a kids movie. I don't understand what he means in that it doesn't have a story, because it actually has a very cohesive plot to it. It's easy to follow. You know exactly what's going on. It doesn't make sense to me at all. And with that incredibly interesting stop motion design that Anderson uses, coupled with his insane color palettes and incredible dialogue, I don't understand what this guy's talking about. I find almost everything about that movie rememberable, and I guess there's just no accounting for taste. Next up, we have the Grand Budapest Hotel, which flips back and forth with Royal Tenenbaums for my favorite Wes Anderson movie. David L., who gave it 2.5 stars out of 5, says, I hate Wes Anderson and his dumb, annoying movies. The Grand Budapest Hotel is one of his many weird films that favor style over substance. It is strange for the sake of being strange, while the plot, characterization, and meaning are nowhere to be found. The production design, costumes, and score are all lovely, obviously. Some of these performances and characters work too. However, most of these great actors were reduced to what is basically a cameo. The strong visual style led to the overwhelming clutter and denseness. I think that's what he was trying to say. And thus the movie felt boring, frustrating, and pointless, a giant waste of time. Well, David L., let me tell you something about you that you don't know. You're an idiot. You just are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are not able to comprehend good cinema. I'm sorry that you are unable to follow this absolute masterpiece of a film that Wes Anderson has created. That doesn't make sense to me at all. As someone who watches a ton of movies, I have seen movies that are weird for the sake of being weird, and this is not one of them. The characters are incredibly endearing. All the relationships that you're supposed to care about are incredibly well developed throughout the film, and all have a very satisfying climax. On top of that, part of me just wonders, has this guy ever seen a movie that wasn't Transformers before? Because I'll even admit, some of Wes Anderson's earlier work, it is very much so him trying to he's figuring his style out and things like that, and those movies feel like they're different for the sake of being different. But Budapest is one of them where it just really all comes together, where you get Wes Anderson's signature style of filmmaking coupled with an incredibly thought out script, incredible performances, and a very well thought out and endearing plot. So I'm sorry, David L., that some of us are just smarter than others. Next up, we have Moonrise Kingdom. Jim Shimbry gave it a 2 out of 5. And he said the reputation of Wes Anderson as one of America's most consistently overrated directors gets another boost with his latest exercise in stylistic posturing and forced whimsy. And I really hate to tell you this, my friend, but just because you used slightly big words that aren't even really big words, you're just taking regular words and adding INGs to the end of them and things like that in your review, does not mean that you are smart. It doesn't. It's not what it means. I know you want to think that's what it means, but it's not what it means, because Moonrise Kingdom is one of the best coming-of-age stories movies that exists. You can't force whimsy. You can't. You can try, but you can't. But it's something that it just naturally happens and appears, and I just don't understand this. Maybe this guy wants to watch The Goonies 6,000 times in a row and only have this one like prototype for what a coming of age movie is. Or, you know, we can appreciate art. And we can watch movies like Moonrise Kingdom, which are incredibly unique, but still very well told and very well thought out takes. And also, like, honestly, more realistic takes on coming of age films than a lot of other ones are. And I know a lot of people don't like this movie because it depicts, like, sexualization of, like, extraordinarily young people, not in a way that like is necessarily creepy, but is realistic. And like I understand that people don't want to think about 12-year-olds thinking about sex or being curious about it, but guess what? I remember when I was 12 years old, and I sure as heck was. And I applaud anyone who's willing to take a chance and acknowledge that reality in an incredibly tasteful way that is naturally whimsical. And like I don't understand. I don't understand why people don't like Wes Anderson. Finally, we have the Royal Tenenbaums. Oh, I'm going to have a heart attack. Because Dan O gave it a 0.5 out of 5. He gave it a half of a star. And he said, "What in the ever-loving heck was this? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Great concept of children prodigies that fail as adults. Totally wasted in execution. The characters were quirky," and he put it in quotation marks. Something the millennial crowd seems to love, but they are not interesting nor funny in the slightest." All right, first of all, I really hate when people use the word quirky to describe Wes Anderson films, because it's almost gotten to the point to where they always mean it as an insult. And to me, all I hear is, this isn't stereotypical Hollywood trash, so I don't like it. So screw you, personally, because this film is at least a 4.5 out of 5. I don't understand the whole, like, something the millennial crowd seems to love thing, because, like, there were plenty of movies that came out in the 90s and early 2000s that, like, millennials would have been too young to fully understand, that have this quirky characters and things like that. He said they are not interesting or funny in the slightest. I don't know what to say to this. I really don't. If you don't think that Royal Tenenbaum or any of his children or any of the relationships in this film or any of the side characters in this film or even the freaking dog is an interesting character, I would love to hear what this guy's concept of an interesting character is, because it doesn't get more interesting than that. They are fucked up, and that's realistic to an extent. Now it is like hyperbolized, but I don't get it. I don't understand. And to me, there's just a common thread with everyone who criticizes Wes Anderson movies, and that common thread is you guys just don't get it. You just don't get it. And I think that part of that comes from the fact that most of his movies are about really shitty people, and a lot of people don't turn to movies to see stories about shitty people. They want to like feel good and forget about their own lives and the shitty people that are in them, and maybe the fact that they're shitty themselves. But I like stories about real things that aren't afraid to acknowledge hard truths. Wes Anderson makes movies about those things while doing it in an incredibly fun and unique way, and I love everything about them. You should let me know what you think about them down in the comment section below. Scroll back up, hit the like button, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.